Uniform 152 from Tango Uniform 6, Tiger 46 shadow. RV location, over. Fidelity 8125. 125, did you overhear that, over? Uniform negative, can you say again, Lloyd? Roger, around Botanic Avenue there, over. Roger, now, over. Roger, is it a kind of bridge base on the over?
A policeman's been killed as his car was blown apart by a bomb in Lisburn's busy Sloane Street, and a UDR soldier's been shot dead outside a shoe shop at the park centre of Belfast.
The north of Ireland. 20 years of war, 3,000 deaths, more than 30,000 injured, and countless arrests and years of prison. A war in which, day in and day out, the British security forces confront the Irish nationalist movement and its hidden secret army, the IRA, the Irish Republican Army.
On the streets outside there, in West Belfast, there are guns, there are explosives, there are people preparing operations to put together against British troops. This is an IRA active service unit operating in St James's area of West Belfast. They're preparing themselves for an ambush on British troops. They may be mobile, they may be on foot. To a visitor coming to West Belfast, this type of operation must seem amazing or even impossible when you take into consideration the amount of surveillance, the amount of armed troops that are on the ground. Yet, day in, day out, this type of operation takes place. At this present moment,
in the 1970s, Brendan Hughes was considered by the British Army to be an important leader of the IRA. Arrested in 1972, he soon escaped from the high-security prison of Long Kesh. Recaptured in 1973, he has spent 13 years in prison.
The minds of the people of West Belfast. The best will in the world cannot stop what is happening here because they do not have the minds of the people.
Ireland was divided in 1922 after 6 years of war between the British Army and the IRA. In national elections at that time, the Irish voted overwhelmingly in favour of independence. What followed was a compromise in which London agreed to withdraw from the 26 counties of Southern Ireland. In exchange, Britain was to maintain control of 6 counties in the north. 6 counties that contained most of the country's industry, as well as a majority of loyalists, descendants of British settlers who wished to remain in the United Kingdom. With the support of London, the loyalists in Northern Ireland were to control all economic and political powers. Meanwhile, the nationalists who had fought for a united Ireland were to suffer from systematic discrimination in housing and employment. Furthermore, special laws permitted arbitrary arrest and imprisonment of political opponents. Not surprisingly, Northern Ireland is a state that has never been at peace.
Flashpoint area we do have here and over here. This is a lot of shooting takes place along this area here. So we've always to be very careful when patrolling in this particular area.
Papa 70, Roger.
You may notice the special protected glass we have in our vehicles here. These are actually built up and help to prevent or protect us from drogue bombs and that type of thing. These are the new bombs they throw at us, which can go through steel 1.5 inches thick. So these vehicles are trying to be give us some protection from those type of devices.
The war in Northern Ireland has ironically become one of the state's biggest industries. 20,000 soldiers, 13,000 policemen, 3,000 prison guards, and countless other security posts. A major source of employment for the loyalist community. But the work is dangerous. Members of the security forces are daily targets of the IRA.
Uniform Red 1, arrival. Roger, Red 1. Alpha Delta, Alpha Delta, Alpha Delta 161 over. Stand over.
See the
Roger, could you send
people swimming out that wall?
from Alpha Side?
Sometimes they would reckon that the police will stop at such and such a point, say that at a lamppost, and at that lamppost in the waste bin, you'll find maybe a bomb in it which will explode. Which is try and get as many casualties as possible.
Well, what's happening at the moment is we have the area cleared. There's been a call has been received from 2 anonymous callers stating that there's a 200-pound bomb in this premises here. We have now carried out a cursory search of the area, and we've cleared all vehicles, as you can see. This is happening every night of the week in Belfast. It's one of these things which we've come to live with. If you can see now how quickly we got here, and we're able to clear areas in the shortest possible time, therefore, if a bomb does go off, to minimise injury.
Patricia McDade and Cathy Stanton, Irish nationalists, were arrested in July 1983 carrying explosives. 4 years prison.
Explosives and box timers. And they were on us and put us down, and then the jeeps came and they waited a while, and then there was 2 other guards caught round the house, round the street we came out of, and they brought us round now and lifted them and then brought us to Wimborne Barracks, and then from there on to Castlereagh. So they did.
I think the pillars were more nervous than we were. They were shaking. They obviously knew what we had, you know. And
when you join up, you're expecting either to be lifted or, you know, you're not given any false pretenses about this life being involved. Like, you know, that you're going to end up in jail sometime or dead or whatever. Like, you know, the consequences like you're taking on.
These are the bullet holes. They were fired on an upward angle because obvious whoever knew who done it knew the size of Brenton. So they fired upward. As you can see, the strike marks up here and here. And the extensive damage that was done around the hall. There's also a hole here.
Brendan Davidson, member of the IRA, killed by loyalists in July 1988.
Before Brendan got the door open, the gunman opened fire. The bullets came through the door, and one hit Brendan on the forehead. His window, bulletproof. The gunman obviously not ever been in the flat before, knowing that there must have been collusion with the security forces on this point.
This time I'd been on the run. The British troops were looking for me, but I was able to get through the roadblocks and so forth with the new ID I'd taken on. While we were there, on the Malone Road and moving about and not operating in that area, we were able to bug Lisburn Army headquarters, and every 3 or 4 days I would collect the tapes and listen to conversations that was taking place in Lisburn Army headquarters. On one of the recordings, we heard an informer reporting in to his contact in Army headquarters of information that led us to believe that the informer was getting close to where we were on the Malone Road. So when the arrest took place on the Malone Road, it was a surprise, but it wasn't a shock.